Hello and welcome to Vegan Cafe 21. Today we are making layered mint flatbread using whole wheat flour. So let's get started. This is white whole wheat flour. To season our flour, we will use 1 tablespoon of dried mint leaves, 1 teaspoon of salt. Here we have 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. This is a mild variety. We will also use a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder. And for layering, we will use 2 tablespoons of olive oil. This is approximately half a cup of flour for dusting and layering. To make our dough, we will use 3/4 cup of water. Now, the amount of water you may need depends on the quality of your flour, so you may end up using more or less of it. I also have about a 1/4 cup of water on standby. So let's start adding all of our seasoning to our flour. You take the mint leaves and crush them nicely between the fingers and the palm of your hand and drop them in your flour. In goes the salt, the chili powder, turmeric powder, and now we are going to give it all a nice mix. So now we will start adding water a little at a time. Now that's the key. You want to add water a little at a time and keep incorporating it in your flour. Now we're not looking for a sticky dough. We want a soft, pliable dough. Gather up all the loose flour from the sides and all around. You know you've prepared a good dough if it does not stick to the sides of your bowl that you're preparing it in. Now you just, using the knuckles, punch it down a few times just like this, just for about 30 seconds, and then using this part of your palm, push it away and toward you, push it away and toward you, just about 5 or 6 times. You really don't need to knead it for too long. There, looks good. So now we are just going to cover it with a lid and let it rest for 5 minutes. All right, so our dough has been resting for about 5 minutes. Now, if you can leave it for longer, like about 10 minutes, it's even better. But I just left it for 5, and this is what it looks like. It looks like a well-rested dough. So now, just knead it a couple of times using the palm of your hand, push it away, pull it toward you. Again, just about 6 or 7 times. Looks nice and smooth. Now we'll get working. Over on the stovetop, I have started heating a flat cast iron skillet to prepare our flatbread on. So while this is heating, we will start creating our balls for our flatbread. So we will start working with this entire ball and start rolling it. Don't worry about the shape, just roll it large enough. I dusted it with some dry flour so it doesn't stick to your work surface. There, that's all we want. Now, we will use some of this oil, spread it on the rolled surface. Just dust a little bit of flour on it. Bring one side over to over half of the circle. Just using the back of this greased spoon, brush a little bit of oil, just a little more sprinkle of flour, and fold over the other end of the dough. Now, same thing, just a few drops of oil, spread it around like this. Another sprinkle of flour. Fold from one end to about half, and then pick up the other end and bring it over. Now we have a nice square block. All right, I'm going to roll this square block in some dry flour, or you can just dust your work surface with it, one and the same thing. And now we start rolling this. We're looking to stretch it to about 12 inches by 12-inch square. It does not have to be a perfect square. If you allow your dough to rest, it makes it easier for you to stretch it when you're rolling. All right. Now we take a nice heaping tablespoon of oil and spread it onto this rolled surface. Now this method that I'm showing you makes your job a bit easier because you don't have to layer individual balls for individual flatbread pieces. So in one go, we'll have 6 balls ready and layered. Now you take some flour, dust the oiled surface, and now we begin rolling from the end that's closest to you. Small rolls. So we're going to make sure our log is of even thickness from end to end. If not, you can just give it a little tuck like this and pull like this. Now we will give it a cut in the middle. Do you see all these layers that we created? Now each piece will cut into 3. The reason I'm cutting it into 3 is because I want to get at least 6 flatbreads out of this. If you want your flatbreads to be bigger, you can just cut it in half and have larger ones. It's that simple. Now I'm going to set the ones that are waiting for us right here and cover them so they don't dry out on us. And using this dry flour, again, roll your ball into the dry flour or dust your work surface with it, either or is fine, and start rolling. We are looking for a 6-inch round flatbread. Believe me, the shape of it will not alter the taste. If it is not a perfect circle, that's totally fine. It still has all the goodness and will taste delicious, I assure you. Try to keep the thickness even all around though. You don't want the middle to be too thick or too thin. With a light hand, just gently roll it. This is the thickness that I'm going for. If you want, you can go slightly thicker. This is about, I would say, 1 millimeter or 2. Our skillet is ready and waiting for us, so I'm just going to take it and drop it on the skillet. Keep the heat on medium. Anywhere between medium and high is fine. You don't want your skillet to smoke though, because you want this to cook nice and even through and through. Okay, as you can see, the top of the flatbread starts to look dry. That's when you know you can try to lift it and see if it is done on the other side. As you can tell, it has light markings on it, which indicates that it is ready for us to flip. So I'm going to flip it. I'm using my hands because I can tolerate heat pretty well, but please use tongs or a flat spoon. Now I'm going to let it cook on that side for another minute. Now while we have one on the skillet over here, I have started rolling our second one. So we have it ready and waiting for us. So now we are going to take some olive oil, about 3/4 of a teaspoon, spread it on this side that faces you, and gently flip it over. Press it and keep moving it on the skillet. Take another 1/4 teaspoon of oil, apply it on this side, flip it over. Again, my heat has consistently been on medium. And this is a cast iron skillet, so it retains heat for a long period of time, which results in nice, even cooking. You may have to flip it just a couple of times after applying oil, because you don't want it to stain too deep. I think we're ready, so I'm going to lift it using our spoon and place it on this plate. And on goes our second one. While that cooks, we'll start rolling and getting the rest of our breads ready. It looks beautiful. Onto the plate it goes. And now we are ready for the next in line. Now let me show you how nicely this is cooked. Do you see the layers? All around. So 1.5 cups of whole wheat flour, simple seasonings, little bit of water, and this is what we have, our homemade, delicious, layered mint flatbread. You can use them to make wraps with, or eat them with chutney or curry of your choice, and enjoy. I hope you like this recipe. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon with more vegan favorites.